My loves, this is the forbidden glass of wine. But tonight, it is not only wine we sip, it is rhythm. It is language. It is faith. It is memory. We return once again to the heart of St. Lucia, this island of light and blood, of laughter and mourning, where freedom was born in whispers and courage hid behind song. Our ancestors, they fought not only with machetes and fire, but with melody and motion, with the echo of drums that carried words across valleys and time, with the pulse of hearts that refused to forget the motherland. They built freedom not only with rebellion, but with rhythm, not only with defiance, but with creation. Because, my loves, when they were stripped of everything, their names, their homes, their gods, their tongues, they built new ones out of ashes and memory. They shaped language from loss. They made beauty from brutality. They turned pain into poetry. Every song they sang, every story they told, every dance their feet remembered was rebellion in disguise. And every beat of the drum was a message. Nous la toujours, we are still here. So tonight, my loves, we do not drink to escape. We drink to remember. We drink to honor. We drink to awaken the rhythm they left inside us. For culture was their shield, and rhythm was their weapon. Their survival became our inheritance, a language carved from pain, a song that never stopped singing. This glass tonight, it carries their rhythm, their tongue, their spirit, their soul. This is not just remembrance. This is resurrection. This is the forbidden glass of wine. For every rhythm we play today is the heartbeat of those who refuse to die. My loves, the whip cut the skin, the chains bruised the body, the cane fields drained the blood. But one thing, one sacred thing, slavery could never destroy, was the spirit of our people. In the silence after pain, they found rhythm. In the shadows of bondage, they found song. In the midst of despair, they found faith. For even when the body was bound, the spirit danced. It danced in the night winds of Miku, in the river songs of Soufriere, in the heartbeats of the hills of Choiseul. The ancestors carried freedom where no master could reach inside the rhythm of their souls. Through song, through language, through prayer, they built a world inside the broken one. They carried Africa in their breath and St. Lucia in their bones. Each song became a bridge between who they were and who they refused to stop being. When the whip fell, they sang louder. When the chains tightened, they prayed deeper. When the world called them slave, they answered, Zot passa coupe l'esprit moine. You cannot cut my spirit. Every rhythm was rebellion. Every prayer was protection. Every story whispered under moonlight was a declaration of life. And so, my loves, their culture became their survival. Their rhythm, our inheritance. Their song, our language. Their faith, our fire. This glass tonight carries their rhythm, their tongue, their soul. It carries the unbroken spirit of a people who turn pain into power, chains into song, and silence into survival. Let us honor them not only by remembering their suffering, but by protecting the beauty they left us. Because even when the world tried to erase them, the ancestors found a way to sing. My loves, the story of our survival was not written in books. It was sung. It was whispered. It was beaten into drums that the masters forbade. On the plantations of St. Lucia, they banned the drum. They knew that the drum was more than rhythm. It was language. It was signal. It was heartbeat. Through every beat, our ancestors spoke to each other across rivers, across hills, across miles of pain. When one plantation prepared for rebellion, another would know because the drums would tell them. They spoke in code, in patterns of thunder that only the enslaved could read. So the masters feared it. They banned it. They broke drums. They punished those who dared to play. But the people, my loves, they did not stop. They beat rhythms on hollow logs, on tin, on calabash, on their own chest. They kept time with the sound of their heartbeats. They made music from whatever the world tried to take away. When the body could not be free, the spirit became its own nation, a nation of rhythm, a nation of defiance. And out of this defiance our language was born, Creole, our beloved tongue woven from pain, born from brilliance, a tapestry of African, French, Carib, and English, stitched together by those who were forbidden to speak. Each word was survival. Each phrase was code. They built a language that masters could not fully understand, and through it, they preserved their humanity. They could not write their stories, so they spoke them. They passed them from tongue to tongue, from mother to child, from elder to youth. And faith was their camouflage. The masters saw bowed heads and folded hands and thought they had converted them. But beneath those hymns of obedience were the echoes of Africa. The candle flicker on the altar was also the fire of the ancestors. In secret, they prayed to saints, but behind the saints stood their spirits, their gods, their memories. When they said Saint Anne, they also meant Mama Africa. When they called on Saint Peter, they also called on the guardians of the rivers. Their faith was double-layered obedience above, liberation below. And so, my loves, our ancestors built a world within a world. A secret world of resistance wrapped in song, hidden in prayer, spoken in code, danced under moonlight. Culture became their armor. Music became their weapon. Faith became their hiding place. Language became their sanctuary. They survived not by forgetting who they were, but by remembering in ways the world could not see. So when you hear the drum, when you speak Creole, when you dance Jwe or sing in the market, you are not just celebrating, you are continuing the rebellion. Our culture was not given to us. It was protected for us, carried through blood, through rhythm, through centuries of silence and sound. And it still carries us through. Come, my loves, walk the island with me and watch how our people hid life in plain sight. In Castries, ships came and went, carrying sugar and rum as if history were cargo. But beneath the hum of trade, a softer commerce endured, songs swapped for stories, proverbs traded for courage. A mother at the market weighed breadfruit with one hand and with the other, passed on a lullaby that had crossed the ocean without a passport. Down the cul-de-sac valley, men rose before the rooster. The planters counted tons. The people counted heartbeats. When the drum was banned, the tibwa, two simple sticks kept time on a bench edge, a barrel rim, a door frame. Rhythm survived because hands remembered what the law forgot. In soufriere, sulfur steamed at the earth's seams, as if the island itself were praying. Women in the boiling house stirred copper cauldrons. Later, in small chapels, they lit candles for saints. Yet their whispers reached farther than the altar, back to rivers and forests and the ones who walked before. Faith bent, but did not break. It became a double-key Catholic on the surface, ancestral beneath, and language Creole Saint-Licy grew where silence had been planted. Not taught by masters, but nurtured by mothers, sharpened by workers, sweetened by market banter. French, African tongues, Carib echoes, English on the edges, all woven into one cloth, strong enough to wrap a people. When ink lied, Creole told the truth. When orders barked, Creole comforted, instructed, organized. Vini à souhait, come tonight. C'est là, it's there. Prends courage, take courage. A living code muscle, breath, memory. Where masters saw recreation, the people kept tradition as strategy. The quadrille. Yes, a dance with European roots was remixed in St. Lucia until it moved with Caribbean hips and African feet. In the call and response of the Khan storytelling, trickster wisdom taught children how to read a world that wouldn't read them. Proverbs carried the law of survival. Chen kakaze, memak la karete. Chens break, but the scars remain. Se ensemble nous kasoti. Together we rise. Across seasons bloom the rival flowers, La Rose and La Marguerite song societies that dress the island in pageantry and friendly contention. The masters heard rivalry, The people heard rehearsal for unity voices, trained to sing as one, archives kept in melody, a ledger of identity balanced by harmony instead of coin. Every costume stitched was also a line of history recovered. Every chorus repeated was a vow. We are still here. In backyards and cane fields, the body learned footwork and forms. Call it kalinda, if you like. A game, a dance, a fight. It was all three discipline in disguise. Foot to heel, heel to earth, measure, distance, respect. The body stayed ready, the mind stayed calm. Culture trained what history tried to break. On Fridays by the sea in Dennery and View Fort, nets rose silver with fish and with song. Chantes la Mercy's songs kept time with the pull of rope. Call, haul, answer, haul. Work became choir. Survival learned harmony. Even hunger could not drown a chorus sung together. And what of the pot? Bouillon simmered like a memory you can taste. Breadfruit rescued from poor man's food into pride. Saltfish, once rations turned delicacy. Dasheen, green fig, callaloo, a garden of endurance. Recipes were ledgers that couldn't be audited. A pinch of pepper for courage, time for remembrance, coconut milk for mercy. We ate what history meant for waste and turned it into feast. That, too, is a prayer. Some prayers needed a circle. In a few villages, old rhythms survived in drum-centered devotions, names whispered gently, petitions carried on skin and wood. You might call it simply church at home, but the pulse said more. Bonje padomi, God does not sleep. The drum answered, Nu padomi non please, we do not sleep either. And always, Quaol the river running under everything. Market cries, love confessions, scoldings and blessings. It made the island legible to itself. Without Quaol, the people would have felt like guests in their own house. With it, they became the host keepers of the threshold, doorkeepers of memory. Understand this, culture was not entertainment, it was infrastructure. Where roads did not connect us, rhythm did. Where schools did not teach us, proverbs did. Where papers denied us, Quaol affirmed us. Where whips attempted to scatter us, song gathered us again. So when we celebrate Joan and Quaol, when we dress for La Rosée or La Marguerite, when we dance quadrille in a community hall or beat tibour on a bench, do not call it nostalgia, call it maintenance. We are servicing the bridge our ancestors built in a storm, tightening bolts, relaying planks, repainting rail so our children can cross. Culture carried us when law would not. Culture spoke when ink lied. Culture gathered us when fear scattered us. This is how St. Lucia survived. With a drum for a compass, a language for a map, and a faith big enough to hold both the saints and the ancestors. The world tried to ride us as silence. We answered in song. My loves, it is midnight in the hills. The cane fields sleep, the masters sleep, but the people are awake. In a clearing hidden by trees, a circle forms. A drum rests on the earth sacred. Hands touch it gently, as though greeting an elder. The air thickens, heavy with memory. The drum was more than music, it was language without chains. It spoke of loss, of love, of revolt. It told the ancestors, No toju la. We are still here, and the ancestors answered through wind, through flame, through rhythm. Each beat was defiance, each sway was declaration, each voice that rose was a resurrection. For in that circle, my loves, there were no masters, only witnesses. Witnesses to endurance, witnesses to freedom found in motion. The men struck the drums with purpose. The women danced with fire in their eyes. Children clapped, wide-eyed, learning by watching learning that even silence can have a song. A girl, no older than 12, closes her eyes. Her body begins to move as though guided by something unseen. The elders nod, they've seen this before. She is carrying the spirit. It is not possession, it is communion, a conversation between flesh and the divine. In those moments, they were not slaves. They were the children of kings and queens. They were memory, reborn in sound. They were freedom alive, barefoot and breathing. And when the dawn began to blush the horizon, they did not weep for the night's end, they smiled. Because through that rhythm, they had built something unbreakable, a bridge between yesterday and forever. They carried the song home in their bones, back to the fields, back to the chores, back to the cruel light of day, but inside them, freedom still danced. You see, my loves, they could not stop the drum because they could not stop the soul. The rhythm was the island's heartbeat, and the island never stopped beating. My loves, the drums of yesterday have not stopped. They only changed hands. They live now in the rhythm of our voices, in the patter of our language, in the laughter of our children running barefoot through the dust. Listen, when a mother says, Vini, Tiwela, Pa, Aluen, come, my child, don't go far. She's doing what Florboa Gaia once did in the forest. She's protecting her own. When a grandmother tells an old folk tale about Compe Lapin or Tijin, she's doing what the drummers did at midnight, keeping memory alive. Culture, my loves, is not performance. It is protection. It is how we survived when we had no armies. It is how we rebuilt when the world left us broken. It is how we found joy in the middle of sorrow. But now, look around. We have the flag. We have the freedom. We have the festivals. And yet, do we have peace? We sing La Rosée in July, La Marguerite in October, but the gun still sings louder in our streets. We dance at Joan and Quayol, but too many of our young men are dancing with danger. We speak our language with pride, but we forget to speak life into each other. Another shooting, another mother crying. My loves, our ancestors fought to live. Why are we now fighting to die? Culture or rhythm, our tongue, our song was meant to teach us unity. It was meant to teach us how to hold each other up. But somewhere we dropped the rhythm. Somewhere we let the noise of hate drown out the sound of home. When we trade the drum for the gun, we insult the spirit that survived the cane fields. When we trade the song for silence, we betray the tongues that were once whipped for daring to speak. When we trade the dance for violence, we dance on the graves of those who fought for peace. My loves, freedom is not just walking without chains, it is walking with purpose. It is choosing creation over destruction. It is protecting the rhythm that once protected us. Look at our island, beautiful, blessed, small, yet mighty. The same hills that once hid rebellion now echo with sorrow when another youth is lost. The same sea that once carried our ancestors away in chains now carries the tears of our mothers. And so I ask you, when will we stop? When will we remember that survival is not enough? We were meant to thrive. Our culture is the medicine our nation has forgotten to take. It is the remedy for violence, the rhythm that steadies chaos, the prayer that keeps us human. If the ancestors could survive slavery with only a drum and a dream, surely, my loves, we can survive freedom if only we remember the rhythm. So tonight, I raise this glass to the keepers of rhythm, to the elders who still sing, to the children who still laugh in Quayal, to the drummers who refuse to let the heartbeat of this island go silent. Let us not bury the drum, my loves. Let us lift it again as shield, as song, as symbol, because our survival was never by accident. It was by rhythm. It was by faith. It was by love, my loves. Sometimes I wonder if the ancestors could walk through St. Lucia tonight, what would they say? Would they smile to see us dancing in freedom's light? Or would they lower their heads at the shadows we've allowed to return? They fought so that we could live unchained, yet too many of our sons now live as prisoners of their own rage. Too many of our daughters cry behind closed doors, burying their brothers, their lovers, their dreams. Freedom was not a gift they left us. It was a responsibility they trusted us to carry. My loves, do you feel it? That rhythm in your chest, the same one that beat under their scars? That is not just your heart. That is theirs too. It is the same pulse that kept them singing through pain. The same strength that whispered, Genbei red holds strong, but we have forgotten the meaning of strength. We mistake aggression for power, silence for peace, and pride for purpose. We have turned away from each other, forgetting that survival was never meant to be solitary. Every time another life is taken on this soil, another rhythm dies. Every time hate wins, a drum goes silent. And every time we forget our language, our stories, our song, a piece of freedom unravels. Our ancestors did not die for half freedom. They did not fight for a future of fear. They fought so that their children we could wake each morning unafraid. So I beg of you, my loves, do not let their struggle become just a chapter in a book. Do not let their courage end in memory. Carry it, live it, guard it like the flame of a single candle in the wind. Because if we lose that flame, we lose the very thing that made us survive the storm. You see, my loves? Survival was never just about living through chains. It was about learning how to love after them. And if we cannot love each other now, then what was all their pain for? Freedom is not complete until the heart of a nation beats in harmony. Let the drum beat again. Let love return home. Only then, my loves, will we truly be free. My loves, tonight we have walked through memory, through pain, through rhythm, through resilience. And if you listen closely, you can still hear it. That same heartbeat, that same rhythm that carried our ancestors through night and chains, through silence and survival. This glass tonight, it is not just wine. It is the rhythm of the drum. It is the whisper of Quail. It is the prayer of the mother who hid her child from the master. It is the voice of the drummer who dared to play after dark. It is survival turned into beauty. It is the soul of St. Lucia, still breathing, still beating, still beautiful. Every sip we take tonight is a vow to protect our rhythm, to protect our tongue, to protect our island, to protect our each other. Our ancestors survived the storm. They built songs out of sorrow and peace out of pain. So we too must rise, not to fight each other, but to fight for each other. Because, my loves, for all our freedom, we are still not free if our hearts are chained to hate. So tonight, let this be more than remembrance. Let it be rebirth. Let it be the return of love to the rhythm of our nation. Let it be healing, for our ancestors survived chains. We must now survive freedom. And if we do it with love, if we do it together, then we will become the freedom they dreamed of. Let the killing stop. Let the rhythm live. Let the healing begin. My loves, if tonight's story touched your heart, if you felt the rhythm of our ancestors in your chest, then don't keep it to yourself. Share this moment. Let it ripple like the beat of a drum from your home to another, from one heart to the next. Because when we remember together, we heal together. And when we speak their names, the ancestors smile again. So, my loves, like, share, and subscribe to the Forbidden Glass of Wine with me, Lady Divine. Every sip tells a story. Every story brings us closer to the peace our ancestors dreamed of. Until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and remember, the rhythm of freedom still beats within us.